Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of Be a BMF with Your Taxes. I'm the host and owner of BMF Tax and Financial, Brandon Fisher. Today we're going to be talking about W-2s. We're going to talk about how you interpret the different boxes and codes, and then I'll show you how the W-2 actually flows into your 1040. It's going to be super exciting, and I'm sure by the end of this you'll be waiting with anticipation for your W-2 to come in the mail so you can prepare your own tax return, right? Okay, maybe not, but you'll at least be able to look at your professionally prepared tax return this year and know exactly what to look for. All right, let's do this. So this is a form I'm sure most, if not all of you, have seen before. This is the form W-2. This one is from 2014, which is coincidentally the year I started my career in tax. Since 2014, my hair has a few more grays, the scales, it reads a little bit heavier, and tax law has changed a lot, but for W-2 purposes, this form's still a good representation of what you would see on your 2023 W-2. So on this form, we start out by seeing the Social Security number of the taxpayer. We see the EIN, or the employer identification number, and the employer's name, address, and zip code. For this W-2, the employer is the big company located in Anywhere, PA. I'm originally from PA, and I have no idea where that is. The next thing you see is the employee's name and address as well. This is the W-2 of Jane Doe. She and her now ex-husband John are kind of famous, and from what I hear, recently had a very public custody battle over their child, Play-Doh. I promise that's my first and only dad joke of this presentation. Now we're going to get into some more important stuff. Box 1 and Box 2. Box 1 are your taxable wages for the year, which in this case is $48,500. Remember this number for a bit later when we actually get into the tax return. This is the number that you'll see on line 1A of the 1040. Box 2 is the amount of federal tax withholding from your paychecks that is remitted to the IRS on your behalf. For this W-2, $6,835 was withheld, and this flows to line 25A of the 1040. Box 3 and Box 5 are the Social Security and Medicare wages, taxable wages, respectively. And then Box 4 and Box 6 are the Social Security and Medicare tax withheld. For Box 4, this number should be 6.2% of the number in Box 3. And for Box 6, this number should be 1.45% of the number in Box 5. Now, you might be noticing there's a difference between Box 1 and Box 3 and 5. So why the difference? Well, the answer is actually staring you straight in the face. Box 12A, Code D. This code represents traditional 401k employee contributions, also known as pre-tax contributions. For taxable income purposes, this reduces your taxable wages by $1,500, but does not decrease Social Security or Medicare wages. The other two codes in Box 12, DD and P, represent employer-paid health insurance and excludable moving expense reimbursements for members of the armed forces, and they have no effect on your tax return. Thanks for the service, Ms. Doe. I want to touch on one more item regarding Box 3. I know most of you are high income earners and are probably making a couple hundred G's a year and watching this thinking, Brandon, my W-2 is wrong because Box 3 is only $160,200. Rest assured, this is correct. Social Security is capped and adjusted for inflation each year. For 2023, the cap is $160,200, which, given inflation numbers, I'm surprised it wasn't a lot higher than that, but that's a different discussion for a different day. We aren't going to go into the state information at the bottom, as each state is taxed differently and has different formulas for coming up with the state taxable wages. Now, let's see this in action in an actual tax return. Alrighty, so now we're in the actual tax software where all the magic happens. Side note, I was a huge MTV Cribs watcher back in the day and always wanted to say that, but never had the opportunity, so thank you. As you can see, this is a draft tax return I made for Jane Doe. For time's sake, I already did the data entry piece, and we'll be looking at the government forms. We're currently on page 1 of the 1040, where you can see Jane Doe's name, Social Security number, and address, all information that we saw on the W-2 that we just looked at. As we scroll down, we get to line 1A, and we see the number $48,500. If you remember, that's the same number we saw in box 1 of the W-2. As we scroll down, you have some summary numbers. Line 1Z is 48,500, same as line 1A. You come down to line 9. This is your total income. This is assuming that we had no additional income from Schedule Cs or rental properties or K1s or anything like that passing through. And also assuming no adjustments to income like student loan interest, things like that on line 10. So you get to line 11, and this is your AGI, which is the adjusted gross income. And it's the same as your line 1A or box 1 W-2 wages that we saw earlier. Line 12 is the standard deduction, which for a single person, which unfortunately Miss Doe is after the tragic divorce, the standard deduction in 2023 for a single individual is $13,850. So line 14, you just add 12 and 13 together. Since she doesn't have a business or any QBI deduction, line 14 is the same as line 12. And then line 15 is your actual taxable income. And all that is line 11 less line 14. And as you can see, Miss Doe's taxable income for 2023 was $34,650. As we scroll down, we're on page 2 of the 1040 now. Line 16 is where the tax is calculated. The software does this automatically, and for 2023, Miss Doe's tax liability is $3,941. These other lines are for additional credits and other things that aren't applicable to Miss Doe, so we will skip over them for now. You scroll down, you come to the payment section, and this is that line 25A that we were talking about earlier, where the W-2 withholding is on line 25A. You see that same number, $6,835. Line 25D is just a summary of A through C, and then line 33 are the total payments that she made. Since she didn't make any estimated payments and all her withholdings were from W-2, line 33 is the same as line 25A. And then you get down to line 34, which in this case is an overpayment because her $6,835 that was withheld is greater than her tax liability of $3,941. So Miss Doe is going to get a refund of $2,894 that she could choose to either have refunded to her, or she could apply that number to her 2023 estimated tax. Since her only income is from W-2 sources, though, we would just refund it in this situation since she's already over withheld and doesn't need the payment to offset any tax liability for 2024. There you have it. We dissected a 2014 W-2 and saw how it flowed into an actual 1040. I hope you found this topic to be informative and entertaining and that you learned something you can apply to your tax return. You're now on your way to being a BMF with your taxes. In my next video, I'll talk about a health savings account, aka HSAs. I love acronyms for some reason, and the tax benefit that those can have. Thanks, and hope to see you again soon.